Right now at noon, Ottawa County residents can now apply to receive FEMA assistance after severe storms hit the area last month.
And we're dealing with more rain across the area, continuing as we head into the afternoon hours. We'll talk about that forecast coming up.
Plus, the community of Fort Scott celebrates the good old days.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
A tractor trailer overturns on I-49 south of Joplin. This is KOAM News at noon. I'm Elise Snowy. It happened around 9:30 this morning. The tractor trailer was hauling powder that creates cement. Northbound traffic is currently slow moving with one lane open. MoDOT, Reddings Mill Fire, Missouri State Highway Patrol are currently on the scene, and M&M Wrecker are working to remove the crash. There are no other vehicles involved and no injuries at this time. Now let's check in with Chris Warner for a look at the forecast.
Yeah, some good news is our severe threat has dropped significantly. We're all in just a low risk for strong to low grade severe storms, and even that isn't appearing too terribly likely. The atmosphere pretty well worked over. We haven't seen any actual severe weather with this activity, but we've seen some stronger storms, especially this morning in parts of southeastern Kansas. Still some lightning, still scattered storms. The heaviest of thunderstorm type activity around the Monette area, and even then, as you remember this morning at its peak, we had a storm in Chautauqua County moving into Montgomery County, 248 lightning strikes within just a few minutes time frame. Not necessarily the case with this activity, but still dealing with it all as it continues to slowly roll off to the east and northeast. Now take a look at how long this rain's been going, and when we had that heavier rain in place, we now have some aerial flood warnings for Montgomery, Labette, and Cherokee counties, where it's been dealing with some localized flash flooding out there. So you do need to be aware of that just because of the volume of rain that has fallen in the last several hours. MoDOT camera 32nd and range line in Joplin. It is cloudy, it is rainy, and we're getting the same, of course, from our camera on top of the Cornell Complex downtown Joplin. So a quick look at our severe threat for today. Now, very low tornado threat, very low hail risk. You see no areas highlighted. Maybe some strong winds out of some of these storms as they continue to roll out of the area. We started yesterday at 62, made it to 83, so right about where we're supposed to be. And you can tell where the rain hasn't reached yet. We're almost 80 degrees, Stockton, Monette, Cassville, Bella Vista, and Jay. But back where that rain shield has been, we're back into the upper 60s to around 70 degrees. Heading through the evening, we'll still continue to see that opportunity for some isolated thunderstorms as we go through the evening hours and overnight tonight, back down to 69 by midnight. We'll have a full look at your forecast and talk about tomorrow's thunderstorm chances here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, thanks, Chris. All 5 counties in Oklahoma, including Ottawa County, have been added to the major disaster declaration for Oklahomans who sustained damage from April 25th to May 9th severe storms. Residents of the 5 counties may be eligible for assistance under FEMA's Individuals and Households program. Applicants may qualify for rental assistance, basic home repairs, personal property losses, and other expenses related to storm damage. For information on how to apply, you can visit our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Newman Road in Joplin will be closed between Travis Acres Road and Duquesne Road today. The closure began this morning and is occurring in order for the city's curbside tree and foliage debris removal contractor to pick up limbs and debris left after storms. Crawford State Park hosted a fishing derby Saturday. The event is part of Kansas's free fishing weekend. Every kid who attended the event got a reward, which could include items such as fishing poles, a tackle box, or sports equipment.
Just kind of a good way to get kids outdoors, familiar with it. Really low stress environment. Everybody, we have 5 or 6 helpers here today to help. And we're not getting on anybody. We're just here to make sure the kids know how to use the equipment and we get fish on the banks.
A demonstration on how to handle fish and what types of fish are in the area was held before the event got started. Across Trails Ministries is putting on its 9th annual Rodeo Bible Camp. The week-long camp will teach kids how to take care of horses and other animals. We'll also teach them rodeo events like barrel racing and goat tying. Kids will also attend worship 3 times a day.
It's cool to see these kids connect with these animals or with this event. There's lots of kids that have come and maybe they've never tried goat tying, they've never tried to ride a bull or a horse or, rope. And I mean, we've had kids that have never swung a rope and they've come and by the end of the week, they're catching calves. they're roping, you know, and so it's cool to see that progression and how well they do in their event.
A rodeo to show off what the kids have learned will be open to the public on Thursday. Well, Brutus Fest was held this weekend in West Mineral in honor of the world's largest electric shovel. The event marks 50 years since Big Brutus was taken out of commission. Activities included face painting, photo opportunities with Casey Wolf, and more. The downtown streets of Fort Scott were filled this weekend with hundreds of community members ready to celebrate the town and its history. KOAM Samantha Walker spoke with attendees at the Good Old Days Festival about what is bringing them together as a community.
Everyone's friendly. It's a good community.
Community is precisely what the attendees of the Fort Scott Good Old Days Festival say the weekend-long event is all about. And not even cloudy skies could stop the hundreds of people from gathering and exploring downtown Fort Scott.
And it's just a tradition and great weather so that no one gets sunburned, like mostly.
The Good Old Days in Fort Scott has been a yearly tradition that has gone on for decades, where a parade and various activities fill the downtown streets.
I was in the first one for Jock Snitch. I think it's closed down now, but Jock Snitch Sports actually was a model, man. Believe it or not, for the shorts and some stuff. My cousin of mine too, 1981.
And even people who have attended nearly every year for the past 4 decades make an effort to come back to help support the tradition.
I think tradition is important. I think Fort Scott stands by tradition, and that's one thing I feel like as a community member we can say collectively, that our community is all about tradition and keeping things preserved for our future generations.
The Good Old Days has something for everyone, from a street fair and 5K to funnel cakes and a car show. The event is all about embracing Fort Scott and its rich history.
It's kind of an older town. I mean, it's just I think the brick streets and a lot of things that people really like when they come to see Fort Scott.
That's pretty cool. I like history, so that was pretty cool. And they fired the cannon this morning, so that was pretty cool to see.
And for attendees at the Good Old Days that I spoke with, they say the best part of the event is getting to come together and celebrate as a community.
I think the shutdown during COVID taught us all a lot, that we like to be with people, and this is a good thing.
Just to see all the people that we know, and even if just acquaintance that we don't see very often, just checking in and saying, hey, what's up, and just basically just having a community. That's what this is about.
Reporting in Fort Scott, Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
This year's Good Old Days was the 43rd year for the event. And coming up, jury selection is underway in the trial of President Biden's son, Hunter. And later, we're making caprese stuffed portobellos in the Mr. Food Test kitchen. Jury selection is underway in Hunter Biden's federal trial in Delaware. The president's son is accused of lying on a federal form about his drug use while purchasing a firearm. Skylar Henry has more details from Washington, D.C.
Hunter Biden arrived at the federal courthouse in Wilmington, Delaware for the start of his trial on felony gun charges. The president's son is charged with making false statements when he bought a gun in October 2018, claiming on a federal form he was not using or addicted to drugs. He's also charged with unlawfully possessing the gun as a drug user. The charges carry the possibility of prison time.
These types of offenses are rarely charged and even more rarely would actually go to trial.
The trial comes less than a year after a plea deal fell apart, with the judge questioning whether the deal shielded Biden from future charges as well. Hunter Biden's attorneys plan to try to make the case their client had undergone rehab and did not consider himself a drug addict at the time he bought the gun. Prosecutors are planning to call his ex-wife, as well as Hallie Biden, Hunter's romantic partner at the time and widow of his brother Beau, as a witness.
That testimony from his closest family and friends is going to be used against him as a basis for putting him in prison. So regardless of how this comes out, even if he's acquitted, this is not going to be a pleasant experience, to say the least.
President Biden issued a statement saying, "As the president, I don't and won't comment on pending federal cases. But as a dad, I have boundless love for my son, confidence in him, and respect for his strength." First Lady Jill Biden is at the courthouse for opening day of the trial. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Washington.
And the trial is expected to last about 2 weeks. If convicted, Hunter Biden faces up to 25 years in prison and fines of up to $750,000. Still to come on KOAM News at noon, Mr. Food.
If you're looking to change up your dinner routine, we've got just the thing. It's a twist and an Italian favorite.
And we're continuing to watch thunderstorms and heavy rain across the area, leading to flooding concerns. We'll have a look at that forecast when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM News at Noon. So we had some stronger storms this morning with some small hail, gusty winds, and the big thing, very heavy rain. And that's been continuing as we've headed through the morning and now into the afternoon hours. We've got some heavier thunderstorm activity, or at least heavier rain activity, just north of Monette, kind of sandwiched in between Monette and Mount Vernon. And then a little bit further to the north around the Greenfield area, some heavier rain starting to move in toward the Springfield area. And then we've just got this blanket of rain that is progressively coming to an end from west to east across parts of Kansas. Oklahoma still blanketed in all this. And with all this rain, take a look back. We had those thunderstorms with just an incredible amount of lightning this morning. That has eased up considerably since then. And we're not really seeing much in the way of lightning at all with this activity at this time. And the good news is this is expected to continue to wind down. However, it's left behind some flood warnings for Montgomery, Labette, and Cherokee counties. The Cherokee County one will expire at 3. This one expires at 3:45 in Labette County. Montgomery County, it runs until 2:30. And there's been some flooding, of course, out there. And take a look at the rain amounts. You can see, of course, over southeast Kansas, where a lot of this activity has been since this morning, receiving the heaviest amounts of rain. We zoom back into the flood areas and take a look just north of Coffeyville and east of Independence. Radar estimates of almost 6 inches of rainfall in parts of Montgomery County. So hence why we have the flood warnings. Remember, turn around, don't drown. As for our severe threat today, some good news. The hail threat's been removed. The tornado threat was removed earlier this morning. And so we are currently left with just a low-end wind risk. So maybe some strong gusty winds with some of this remaining activity that's out there. But it will eventually begin to move on out as we head through the rest of the afternoon. So some new updates as we head into the evening. Again, a few stray showers, maybe a thunderstorm out there. And then as we go overnight, we're going to see additional thunderstorm activity. It'll be scattered at first, and we'll continue to see that through our Tuesday. Now, our Tuesday thunderstorm activity looks to be relatively limited through the day. Maybe a stray shower or storm during the day on Tuesday. And then as we go late night on Tuesday into Wednesday morning, some of the new updates do still show a line of thunderstorms possibly pushing through late Tuesday into early Wednesday morning. And that's why tomorrow we have the low end risk for some strong to possibly low grade severe storms. But again, the better chance for that, at least more organized activity, is going to be late tomorrow night, again into early Wednesday. Cloudy, rainy in Joplin right now, 67, west breeze at 3, and it's been gusting at times out there. Temperatures, and again, you can see where the rain has not quite reached yet. Stockton still at 79, and you can see where the rain has been, where temperatures are in the mid to upper 60s out there. So some of us have already reached these highs. Some of us may not reach these highs. Some of us may reach these highs because, again, as this clears from west to east, we're going to see the sun come out. It's going to warm up. So again, upper 70s, winds out of the south-southwest, gusting upwards of 25. Some scattered thunderstorms overnight, back into the upper 60s. Winds still gusting out of the south, upwards of 20. And they'll pick up again out of the south, gusting to 25. And we'll make about the low to mid 80s for our Tuesday across the area, again, with some isolated to widely scattered storms out there. Heading down the road, not looking too shabby. Once we get past this activity, at least for a couple of days, we got the rest of Wednesday's not bad. We're actually going to clear out after this activity clears out early Wednesday morning. That's why we're going to make mid-upper 80s. Upper 80s Thursday and Friday and sunny, so a great opportunity to hit the pool out there. Because this weekend, not such a great opportunity to hit the pools. We have more thunderstorm chances this weekend, a few more showers as we look into the beginning of next week. So a lot of activity out there, but at least our severe threat lower.
Yes. All right. Thanks, Chris. Well, stick around. We're making caprese stuffed portobellos in the Mr. Food Test kitchen. We'll be right back. Howard is showing us how to make caprese stuffed portobellos in the Mr. Food Test kitchen.
As the weather gets warmer, many of us are looking to lighten up dinner. Sure, we can serve a main dish salad or go with something that supports Meatless Mondays. Both are good options. But what do you say we make a meaty, overstuffed portobello mushroom that's so tasty, there's a pretty good chance you'll end up serving it year-round. We start by brushing both sides of some portobello mushrooms with a homemade garlic butter before popping them in the oven. And if you're not familiar with portobello mushrooms, they're the really big mushrooms we find at our market, and when they're cooked, they almost taste like a steak. Once tender, we top them with slices of tomato and fresh mozzarella, and back into the oven they go, just long enough for the cheese to melt. When they come out, we drizzle them with a balsamic glaze, grind on some fresh pepper, and finish them off with a bit of fresh basil. What makes these so good is the combo of the meaty steak-like mushrooms, the way the tomatoes and the cheese complement each other, and the sweet and tangy punch we get from the balsamic glaze. To get the recipe, all you have to do is head over to our website and type in Caprese Stuffed Portobellos. I'm Howard with Kelly in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a summertime favorite way. What are you doing there? For you to say, ooh, it's so good.
You can find this recipe along with a lot more good food from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen online. Just go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Now here's a look at the 4-state market prices.
All right, scattered thunderstorms continuing into the afternoon. We'll get a brief break for some of us this evening. We'll still warm up a bit behind this rain. More storms scattered, though, overnight tonight. Isolated storms tomorrow, maybe a line of storms tomorrow night into early Wednesday morning. And we'll get a break Thursday, Friday ahead of, you guessed it, more thunderstorms as we head into this upcoming weekend. And don't forget flood warnings, Labette, Montgomery, and Cherokee counties out there. So turn around, don't drown. There's been an awful lot of rain this morning.
Important reminder, we just can't seem to kick the rain, but Thursday and Friday look great.
The two best days so far.
Certainly. And Dow, what do you got for us tonight?
Lots coming up at 5. For starters, a new treatment is giving hope to cancer patients once considered terminal with that disease. We're going to hear more about this treatment called tumor infiltration therapy and explain why it recently received FDA approval for melanoma. Plus, the city of Fort Scott seeking answers after a baseball league announced a new team in Fort Scott without the city's knowledge. And families in Webb City take a trip back in time to the age of the dinosaurs, part of a summer program. Hope you join us for those stories. A whole lot more, of course. It's all coming up today. KOAM News at 5.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dow. And that's the news for now. Thank you for joining us on KOAM News at noon. We'll, of course, see you right back here at 5. Until then, have a great rest of your day.